Welcome back, students. Today we are going to do a panda. This one right up there is pretty simple, and we're going to just jump right into it. So the materials you're going to need today, the paints and materials, you're going to need a couple of paint brushes. You're going to need your chalk, which I'm going to use the marker, and you're going to need some black paint, some white paint, and I'm using two different kinds of yellows. You can also just use one kind of yellow and mix it with the white to get the different colors. And we're going to use a paper plate to trace the outline of the panda here. So I know this plate has a lot of stuff on it, so be very careful. And with your chalk, take your plate and kind of put it almost halfway on the plate, maybe a little bit less. And you're going to, with your chalk, you're going to cover that. And I'm going to use my marker. I'm going to just cover that. There you go. So that is going to be the basis of our panda. And with your chalk, you're then going to make a little nose, right in the middle. And you're going to make a couple eyes. Use your chalk and, you know, try them a few times to make sure you get how you want it to be. So that's about right. And we're going to put little circles. We're not going to really worry too much about the circles, but I'm going to put them there anyway right now. And I'm not going to worry about the ears until the very end because I'm going to be painting around right now on this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint white. I'm going to paint white on, you can do a, don't cover the eyes, so you can go around the eyes, but I'm going to use my white paint and I'm going to just cover the whole area where the white is. And I'm going to not touch the eyes right now. So cover that whole area with white paint. Don't worry if you go over your chalk line a little bit, because your yellow is what's going to come back over, and you're going to make sure you do very, very exact with your yellow to make very nice, fine, very nice straight lines with your yellow. So I'm going to cover all this with white. Make sure that's all covered up. And you can paint this on anything you want. You can paint it on canvas, you can paint it on wood, you can paint it on paper, you can paint it on cardboard. A lot of different things you can paint on. Okay, so I've painted all of that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same brush and I'm going to get the yellow. Put some yellow on here. This is kind of like, it's called deep yellow. I got, and you can get this at any store. I'm going to put some deep yellow on here, and I am going to use some of this yellow. You don't have to. You can just use another kind of yellow or just use your white, but I'm going to have it, so I'm going to use that. And I'm going to start with my dark yellow. I'm just going to put some dark yellow on my brush. And you see it's kind of darker over here and it gets a little lighter over there. So I'm just going to start putting some yellow on. Kind of stay away from the edge right there. Just for right now. Put some dark yellow on. And I'm going to put some of this other light yellow. Mix it all in there together. Take your time. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to be perfect. I'm going to stick a little bit of white in there to add some more, to make it even lighter on the edges over here. And then now that I have more on there, I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to make around the panda, do very, very nice straight lines, as straight as I possibly can. Really try to meet up with that white paint. And take a little bit more darker yellow, put it on top, trying to make like a nice blending pattern or blending look to the whole thing. Maybe a little bit more white over here. Okay, so while that is drying, I'm gonna go paint the eyes of the panda black and the nose of the panda black. So I'm gonna rinse my brush off. Get my black out. Now I'm going to be dry my brush off, and then I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to go around. I'm just going to do the whole thing. I'm not going to put the white on afterwards. I'm going to worry about the white afterwards, but I'm going to just paint that whole thing. And again, if you make a mistake, don't worry. We will come back over with white. If you have some titanium white, which I went over in a leather video, that's a really good paint to have on hand. You can get a small bottle at any of the major craft stores, including Walmart, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. Titanium white will just do a lot of, cover up any mistakes or errors that you make. I use that a lot. And make sure you get the little. I may want to use a smaller brush for this one, a little teeny tiny brush that I have for that, because it's kind of a small nose. And so we're going to let that dry. It should be pretty dry where we can put the ears on. Take your chalk, you can do your ears. And I will follow it up with marker, so you can see it. And it looks like the black is almost dry. I mean, the yellow is almost dry, so I'm just going to go ahead and paint. I made a mistake, so I'm going to have to come back with that white. Then after that, I'm going to take my white paint. I'm going to take some titanium white. The black is not quite dry, so I'm going to kind of put a little bit of a thick coat on it, but I would wait for the black to dry. And then do a little, I have my little tiny brush here. I'm going to do a little circle. And there you, oh, we have a little heart to do on top. That, if I were you, I would just let the whole thing totally dry. And then come back. So I'm going to do that. All right, here we are again. Everything looks like it's dry. So I'm going to put the little heart on it. And then I'm going to paint that with some white paint. And I'm going to put some red paint on top of that. And you know what I would do if I were you? After this dried, I would go back over it with a marker on top of it and just make a nice solid color, nice solid line around the heart. So it was very clean and simple and cover up any errors or any mistakes. So that's all. That's the panda for you.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe.